It's no secret that women's wrestling has come a long way, and it's no longer surprising to see female wrestlers headlining shows. However, before the women's revolution began, WWE was known for scouting female talents, or rather models, based solely due to their looks, most famously through the Diva Search Competition. With that in mind, let's take a look at these female wrestlers who were brought on board primarily not for their in-ring talents, kicking things off with someone who was hired just for her looks, but evolved into one of the most interesting heels of the Divas division, Maryse. Before joining WWE, Maryse had a career as a model, and even won the Miss Hawaiian Tropic Canada 2003 pageant. So it's not surprising that she made it to WWE with no prior wrestling experience. Maryse was discovered by WWE at the 2006 Diva Search, a competition hosted by her future husband, The Miz. The competition, as fate would have it, was hosted by Maryse's future husband, The Miz. Even though she finished 7th on the show, WWE handed her a contract, and in the long run, she became the most successful talent from that group. After making her debut in 2008, Maryse quickly became one of the most important names in the Divas division. Even though Maryse wasn't initially the best in-ring performer, she put in the effort and improved over time. Her smug attitude, fluent French promos, signature hair flip, her arrogance, made her an interesting heel. Maryse also became the first woman to win the Divas Championship twice in WWE history. But soon thereafter, in 2011, she and WWE parted ways. It was rumored at the time that she left WWE to explore other career opportunities, including obtaining her own real estate license. But Maryse returned to WWE 5 years later, at the post-WrestleMania 32, to help her husband The Miz to win the Intercontinental Championship. While she initially took on a managerial role, she still played a crucial role in The Miz's rivalries with the likes of Dean Ambrose and John Cena. However, aside from occasionally accompanying her husband to the ring, it's unlikely that the former Divas champion will return to in-ring action. Moving on to Maria Kanellis. Maria is quite a recognizable name in the wrestling industry for over 15 years, who got her first break at the 2004 WWE Diva Search. Although she finished 5th on the show, she must have impressed the company as she was hired shortly thereafter. She started out as a backstage interviewer, and her bubbly personality and charm quickly made her a fan favorite despite her limited wrestling experience. While it might be easy to dismiss Maria as just another beautiful redhead who was hired just for her beauty, that's far from true. Paul Heyman has gone on record multiple times to praise Maria Kanellis as one of the smartest minds in the wrestling business. Kanellis contributed creative ideas that showcased her intelligence, such as coming up with the Mr. Kennedy gimmick in 2005. Moreover, after leaving WWE in 2010, Maria's wrestling career was far from over. She worked in NJPW, Ring of Honor, and even took on a mentor role during her time in TNA. Although Maria returned to WWE alongside her husband Mike Bennett in 2017, this run was far from successful. You might recall when Maria was pregnant in real life in 2019, WWE oddly incorporated it into an embarrassing storyline where she repeatedly berated and humiliated her husband, telling Mike that he wasn't the father of her baby. Thankfully, the storyline was eventually dropped, and just a year later, Maria and Mike were released by WWE during the 2020 budget cuts. Unlike Maria, Mandy Rose had a tumultuous exit from WWE back in 2022. Mandy first entered the promotion at the final season of Tough Enough in 2015. Mandy made it to the finals, but lost the contest to winners Sarah Lee, and, despite the loss, WWE saw potential in her, enough to sign Mandy to a 5-year contract without any formal training. From the moment she entered the promotion, Mandy Rose was compared to Trish Stratus due to her looks, which played to her advantage. But after Mandy made her NXT debut in 2016, her limited in-ring capabilities were on full display. But instead of criticizing Mandy, fans criticized WWE for bringing in another model, as it was no longer the early 2000s. By that time, the women's revolution had begun, making Mandy seem like a black sheep in the beginning. Nonetheless, WWE went ahead with her main roster debut in November 2017, teaming her with Paige and Sonya Deville to form the faction Absolution. But the faction was soon disbanded when Paige was forced to suddenly retire from wrestling altogether. After being a part of several odd storylines, including flirting with her rival Naomi's husband Jimmy Uso, and a romantic angle with Otis, Mandy was eventually demoted to NXT in 2021, but Mandy used this chance to completely rebrand herself. She dyed her hair brown, changed her ring attire, and aligned with Gigi Dolin and JC Jane, forming the trio known as Toxic Attraction. After defeating Raquel Rodriguez to win the NXT Women's Championship, Mandy held the title for a record-breaking 413 days. It's not hard to say that at the time Mandy was at the top of her game. However, in December 2022, Mandy Rose's reign as women's champion abruptly ended when she was dethroned by Roxanne Perez. The following day, WWE shockingly announced Mandy's release from her contract due to her OnlyFans content, which violated WWE's policy. While many fans believed Mandy's firing was unjust, she quickly landed on her feet. By the end of December 2022, Fantime reported that Mandy Rose made $1 million in a single month. As Mandy has earned more from sharing raunchy content than she did during her WWE career, it is highly unlikely that she will return to the wrestling industry. Up next on our list are the Bella Twins. The Bellas are undoubtedly among the most recognizable female wrestlers of all time. Their first association with pro wrestling came in 2006, when Nikki and Brie participated in the Diva Search, which coincidentally was being held in their town. Their appeal as attractive twins definitely played a role in WWE's decision to sign them, despite having no prior wrestling experience, and send them to the developmental territory FCW. A year later, Brie Bella was the first twin to make her official WWE debut in August 2008. Interestingly, Brie adopted a unique strategy from the first match itself, as she would cleverly roll under the ring, only for Nikki to emerge out of the ring and quickly claim victory. Their switch went unnoticed because of their identical appearances. This pattern persisted until November 2008, when WWE unveiled Nikki as Brie's twin sister. During the first few years, the Bellas struggled inside the ring and were perceived as eye candy, but over time, the twins began to work on themselves. After their comeback in 2013, the Bellas finally started to become an important part of the Divas division. From being cast members of Total Divas, to feuding with Stephanie McMahon, to Nikki soon thereafter holding the Divas Championship for 300 days, the Bellas established themselves as household names. After Nikki took some time to treat her career-threatening neck injury in 2015 and Brie semi-retired from WWE, they continued to occasionally return to the ring, such as participating in the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble match. However, one of their occasional WWE comebacks led them to cutting ties with the company. Nikki and Brie were set to appear at the Raw is XXX show in January 2023, but they were cut from the show due to timing issues. 2 months later, they changed their last names from Bella to Garcia after choosing not to renew their WWE contracts, as WWE owns the trademark on the Bella Twins name. Out of all the women on our list, Kelly Kelly is one of the few divas who easily got over with fans despite having minimal wrestling skills. At the age of 19 in 2006, she became the youngest diva ever to sign with WWE after John Laurinaitis scouted her, having noticed her work as a model. Kelly Kelly's beautiful looks were almost her entire gimmick during her early run with the company. Debuting on the reinvented version of ECW, she was introduced as an exhibitionist who would perform provocative dances and stripteases. However, Kelly Kelly soon began training to become an in-ring performer, and in a short time, her popularity soared thanks to her bubbly girl-next-door persona. It was this rising popularity that led to Kelly Kelly being the first diva selected at the #1 spot in the WWE draft in 2010. The following year, in 2011, Kelly Kelly defeated Brie Bella to capture her first Divas Championship and had a pretty impressive run, holding the title for over 100 days. However, In 2012, Kelly and WWE parted ways due to her injuries, and she ended up retiring at the young age of 25. Since she and WWE maintained an amicable relationship after her departure, Kelly has been able to make a few sporadic appearances in WWE. The start of the women's evolution led to more opportunities for female performers of the past to get involved in occasional returns, and Kelly is no different. Funnily enough, in 2019, Kelly became the first woman to win the 24/7 championship when she pinned Gerald Briscoe. At only 37 years old, there's always a chance for further cameo appearances from, if not a full-blown comeback. After Kelly stepped away from WWE, one of the next blonde beauties who captivated fans is none other than Alexa Bliss. Now, this may seem surprising, but as a lifelong wrestling fan, Alexa Bliss didn't go down the route of independent wrestling to gain some experience. Instead, she set her sights directly on WWE, and to her surprise, she was signed by WWE after just one tryout. It wasn't long until WWE unlocked a better side of her, as she turned heel after being drafted to SmackDown in 2016. In a move which made her into a star, she developed the goddess gimmick, which would see her as a cowardly heel who was highly vindictive, vicious, and would do anything possible to secure a victory. But despite her popularity, Alexa still had many critics who felt that she was still gifted in the ring, a sentiment Sasha Banks publicly agreed with. Banks didn't hide her opinion, and even took shots at Bliss on an episode of Raw Talk, insinuating that Alexa was simply handed everything. But all these criticism didn't seem to matter to WWE, as Alexa became the first woman to win both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles, making her one of the few stars who stood out while the four horsewomen of WWE, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley, were dominating the division. However, the goddess gimmick was soon dropped as WWE sought to transform Bliss into a somewhat supernatural character alongside Bray Wyatt. This new direction divided fans, as pulling off a successful supernatural character is extremely challenging. And let's be honest, not everyone can do it like The Undertaker himself. Even after Wyatt was let go by WWE in 2021, Bliss continued to play the darker gimmick with the introduction of a doll named Lily. After Alexa took some time off to get married in real life, WWE became unsure on how to present Bliss, with her current iteration being a blend of her babyface character and the creepy character, but it just didn't work. Perhaps bringing back the goddess gimmick can once again revive Bliss's WWE career. Although Alexa's beautiful looks may have initially gotten her into WWE, her supreme confidence and exceptional mic skills allowed her to achieve remarkable success within just 1 year. Unlike Alexa Bliss, who made the most of the many opportunities WWE provided her, Eva Marie never truly managed to make a significant impact in WWE. In the final edition of the Diva Search Competition in 2013, Eva Marie emerged as the winner. Just the year prior, Eva was featured in Sports Illustrated, so there was no doubt that the fitness model immediately impressed WWE officials. As the winner of the 2013 Diva Search, her victory earned her a spot on the reality show Total Divas. Like almost every woman on our list, Eva Marie was signed by WWE with no wrestling training. Surprisingly, Eva never really started her wrestling training even after making her debut in 2013. There was even an angle on Total Divas where all the divas clashed with Eva about how she didn't take her wrestling career seriously, despite being signed by WWE for 2 years by that point. Nonetheless, Eva Marie was still protected by WWE, and notably Vince McMahon, who believed in her potential. In 2016, there was a glimmer of hope when Eva Marie was drafted to SmackDown during the 2016 draft. By that point, Eva had somewhat improved in the ring and would often use heelish tactics, such as wardrobe malfunctions and fake injuries, to gain heat from the fans. It was rumored that WWE wanted Eva to become the first SmackDown Women's Champion, but before the plan could be laid out, Eva Marie was suspended in the summer of 2016 for violating the wellness policy program, and by the next year she had left WWE. In late 2020, there were rumors of Eva Marie potentially making a return to WWE. In May of 2021, Eva was given a fresh start when vignettes began airing for her impending return. This left many fans confused, especially since many talented individuals had been released from their contracts over the last couple of years. who had much more to offer than Marie did. After aligning herself with Doudrop, Ava began feuding with the spooky Alexa Bliss. The feud wasn't great, with Bliss's spooky gimmick taking a lot of the spotlight and Marie's acting and performance not being convincing at all, and it wasn't long until Ava Marie was once again released by WWE during the budget cuts in November 2021. Up next on our list is Sable. Now, even though Sable is largely forgotten in WWE today, there's no denying that she was one of the most popular women during the late 90s. A time when women in general were often put in the background. As a former Playboy model, Sable was hired by Vince McMahon with the expectation that she would become a huge star and could easily fill arenas. Sable made her WWE debut in 1996 as a valet alongside Triple H. However, it was when she stepped into the spotlight on her own that she became a megastar for WWE. As the Attitude Era loomed on the horizon by 1997, they wanted someone who could wear provocative attire, confidence, and a bold persona, often pushing the boundaries, and Sable easily fit the mold, and thus her popularity skyrocketed soon thereafter. Interestingly, Sable even became the women's champion at one time, despite her not having no prior training to be a wrestler. However, WWE's persistent desire to push the boundaries with Sable ultimately led her to file a lawsuit against the company in 1999. In her lawsuit, Sable alleged that she was asked to completely strip on camera. Years later, Jim Ross dismissed the case in an interview, suggesting that Sable was using it as an excuse to leave WWE and pursue a career in Hollywood. According to JR, WWE was reluctant to release Sable because she was a major draw for the company, bringing in significant ticket sales even when she simply appeared to greet the crowd. On the other hand, Sable wanted to distance herself from WWE to focus on her passion for acting. Ross concluded by suggesting that Sable had been influenced by the wrong people, implying that her decision to leave WWE was misguided. However, the most strange aspect of this entire situation is that Sable did indeed return to WWE in 2003. Ironically, she found herself back in the same type of storylines she had previously criticized WWE for in her lawsuit: bikini contests, and even becoming a mistress to Mr. McMahon. The best thing that happened to Sable's 2003 return was her crossing paths with and later marrying Brock Lesnar. However, in 2004, Sable chose to part ways with WWE once again, but this time, it was amicable. Despite her husband's significant role in the company, it's surprising that Sable has never made a comeback or even a cameo. When WWE hosted the first ever all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution, it's rumored that they wanted to bring back Sable for a cameo, but she still declined the offer. It's safe to say that Sable prefers to live the country life with her family, rather than return to the spotlight of the squared circle. Before Sable became an eye candy during the Attitude Era, it was Sunny who took center stage in WWE during the mid-1990s. As a manager and valet, her looks drew the gaze of the much-coveted male viewers. Much like Sable, Sunny broke into the wrestling world due to her beau, Chris Candido. Sunny was first hired by WWE as a host to read a teleprompter and inform the viewing audience about WWE events. Soon thereafter, she was paired with her boyfriend Chris Candido and Tom Pritchard to form the Body Donnas. She quickly became one of the most popular female figures in wrestling due to her beauty, wit, and charisma, appearing on numerous talk shows and being featured in several magazines, including Playboy. However, Sunny's career was not without controversy. Her star began to fade as Sable joined WWE and quickly took the spotlight. Compounding her troubles, Sunny was released by WWE due to substance abuse issues, a problem that continued to affect her life for the next 25 years. She went to ECW with Candido for a year, but again found herself fired for rumored drug use. Still, Sunny was able to get her life under control enough to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011. She looked healthier than she'd been in a long time, and many hoped that her life had turned around for the best. But everything Sunny had accomplished in the ring was overshadowed by her actions in the years that followed. In 2012, Sunny had multiple run-ins with the law, resulting in 6 arrests for disorderly conduct, burglary, and violating protective orders. She served jail time for these offenses. In 2015, she was arrested 3 times for driving under the influence and pleaded guilty to all charges. Her self-destructive behavior culminated in March 2022 when she was involved in a fatal car crash while driving under the influence, resulting in the death of a 75-year-old man. This tragic incident led to her arrest for DUI, and in November 2023, Sunny was sentenced to 17 years in prison. Ultimately, serves as the prime example of how she will always be remembered with her constant legal battles. Then her status as the most downloaded celebrity of 1996. The final wrestler on our list is Trish Stratus. It's astonishing to think that the 7-time women's champion, one of the biggest pioneers of women's revolution, wasn't hired due to her wrestling ability. Trish Stratus's background was in fitness modeling before she received interest from WWE. Stratus had the look that WWE wanted from their female performers in the Attitude Era. After making her debut on Sunday Night Heat in March 2000, she was soon cast in a typical diva role that was prevalent during that era. Initially, Trish was simply used as nothing more than eye candy, and even became a kayfabe mistress to Vince McMahon. The angle itself was provocative, especially when Vince forced Trish to get on her knees and bark like a dog. But even during these storylines, she showed glimpses of her wrestling skills, occasionally engaging in physical altercations that hinted at her potential. It was clear that Trish was determined to not remain merely as eye candy and began training hard to improve her in-ring skills. After turning face by slapping Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania 17, Stratus moved into the ring and won the Women's Championship for the first time in her career in 2001. In the ensuing years, Trish won the Women's Championship a record 7 times, and her popularity further skyrocketed thanks to her iconic rivalry with Lita and later with Mickie James. Even after retiring all the way back in 2006, Stratus has returned to the ring a number of times. In the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble match in 2018, she was chosen to enter the Rumble at number 30. The following year, Trish faced Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam in what was supposed to be her final in-ring match, but it's clear that Stratus has always loved coming back to the ring. In 2023, Trish turned heel for the first time in nearly 2 decades and began feuding with Becky Lynch. While the feud may have lasted far too long and become boring at one point, there's no doubt that their final match at Payback 2023 was one of the greatest matches of all time. Which of these women do you believe had an exceptional career in WWE? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Ring